this week on Colonial Sports Center. And welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. I'm Greg Sutton.
And I'm David Szymanski. And Greg, I know you're excited to get to the winter sports. They're in NEC playoff action. But before we get there, the men's lacrosse team last week went on the road to take on number 15 in the country, Penn State. It was a big matchup, and you're going to want to see how our team played.
And speaking of those winter sports, David, I am very excited. We even have two of our own analysts in tonight, Logan Carney and Ian Kist, to sit down and talk about the postseason potentials for all the teams that are made for their postseasons. But before we go any farther, I know you're excited about this one. You're a little upset when you didn't get to read it. The Mount St. Mary's versus Robert Morris men's basketball game, the quarterfinals for the NEC tournament. And that happened just last night, where the men traveled down to Emmitsburg, Maryland, to take on Mount St. Mary's. Robert Morris coming in as a 7 seed, and Mount St. Mary's coming in as a 2 seed. Robert Morris looking for the upset on the road. Let's jump down to Maryland to see how the Colonials fared in their first matchup of the tournament.
And this was a do or die, win or go home. Big game.
It was a huge game, and here the first thing we're going to see is a steal by Deshaun Burke and a quick break down court, little layup, 2 points on the board for the Colonials. Deshaun had a great game. Second thing here, Burke is going to help John Williams out. John Williams is going to hit the 3. Williams shot 60% from the arc, David.
Yeah, but this is where the Colonials went ice cold. Mount St. Mary's went on a run here to take a huge lead going into the second half.
But the second half is where everything changed as Robert Morris started passing the ball around really well. Matty McConnell there, down to Chris Coleman for 2. McConnell has 197 assists on his career here at Robert Morris. Deshaun Burke with a quick drive there and another 2 points. Here we're going to see another great movement of the ball for the Colonials. Deshaun there with the 2 points.
Who else other than Deshaun?
Deshaun, great driving the ball down low. Greg Alexander for the Mountaineers here. Another 3 for him. He had 3 3-pointers. And to end the game, Deshaun Burke, big dunk. It just claims the authority that Robert Morris had there in the second half of the game. Robert Morris was able to upset the number 2 seed Mountaineers in the first round by a score of 60-56. Matty McConnell led the Colonials with 18 points on the night with 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. Deshaun Burke had 14 points on the night with 2 blocks and 2 steals. The Colonials will play number 1 seed Wagner this Saturday on March 3rd in Staten Island, New York with the 7 o'clock tip-off.
While the men's basketball team is already in the conference tournament, the women still have a few games yet before they go for their 3rd straight Northeast Conference title. They recently just played Central Connecticut State, and they have Wagner and Mount St. Mary's left to go. Let's go and see if the women could complete the season sweep of Central Connecticut State University. And the women here are up 7-0 early, but CCSU is going to play hard on the offensive boards, trying to stay in this game with one of the top teams in the conference. And you know, Greg, they tried to stay in it, but the Colonials shot the ball so well in the first half, 50% from the field and 50% from 3.
Yeah, and they just did a great job out there from the 3-point arc that last game.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets in the first half, and they build that lead. And when you're one of the best teams in the conference playing on the road, even when CCSU is getting offensive rebounds like that, you've got a pretty good chance to win this game. And they go into the third, and the Colonials really started to go cold from the 3-point line in the second half. But look at this. They scored 40 points in the paint during the game, which led them to their largest lead, which was 26 points coming late in the fourth quarter. It was a big win.
That's an impressive win with their biggest lead coming in the fourth quarter. Kind of cut it close, but the Colonials were able to kind of show their authority once again.
A lot of momentum being built off of this win. The Colonials did win with a final score of 67-51, a 16-point win. They were led by freshman Nina Augustine, who had 14 points. Also contributing was Maureen, who netted 10 points and pulled down 8 rebounds.
In their last home series of the regular season, the Colonials were looking to drop the puck against the Air Force Falcons at Colonials Arena last Friday night. This would be the first and most likely last time the two teams would face off for the season. First thing we see here is a big shot from the point, from the point there, saved by Billy Christopoulos. And the next thing we're going to see is Air Force driving here, and a goal by Eric Baskin. He leads Air Force right now with 14 goals, and his grandfather was a part of the Norwegian Air Force. Just a cool little tip that I found from our friend Sam Anthony upstairs there. And there we see a little bit of chaos out in front. Matt Graham, who's only shot in the game. A poke check here. Quick move there by Ferguson, but a poke check from Christopoulos saved it, and he just did an amazing job all night. He kept all 29 shots out of the net for Air Force, and that's an amazing performance.
Colonials had opportunities, didn't convert.
Especially here in the third period, where we see the Colonials really trying to force it, and their Air Force does it. Francis Murat with his poke check of his own, but unfortunately stoppage of play there. Here we see Ferguson again with another breakaway chance. Quick move off the pads of Christopoulos. The Falcons dug their talent into Robert Morris by defeating them 1-0. The lone goal of the game was scored by Air Force's Eric Baskin early in the first period of play. The late game effort would not be enough for the Colonials to come back. The Colonials will be looking for their first win in the last 6 games the next day.
Heading into the second contest of the weekend, Robert Morris sat just behind Air Force in the AHA standings. A win would move them closer to the top of the conference, but a loss would put them in a difficult situation for the rest of the season. With everything on the line, we head to Colonials Arena to see this ever-important game. And in that game, the Colonials ended up, it was a very, very close game. It ended up being a 2-2 tie. The game ended in overtime. No goals scored there. Goals were scored in regulation by Alex Tange and Brady Ferguson, which, those are two of the better players on the team, and they were able to get some goals. And Francis Murat had a pretty good game, having 27 saves throughout the night, and that was terrific. And I know the Colonials wanted to get the win, but the tie in overtime's not the worst thing that could have happened.
Absolutely not. And a quick little stat for you, David. I know you're a statistics guy yourself. And a quick little stat. The Colonials are just 3-10 when Ferguson doesn't record a point. And so in that first game, he didn't have a point in that game, but in the second game, they tied it, and he did have a point, so it just adds that total.
That was pretty big, and that was a big reason why they could tie such a tough conference opponent like Air Force.
Yes, it was. And Air Force, it was an important weekend. Colonials now 5-1 in their past 6 games in the regular season. Not a great way to head into the tournament, but it's a way to head into the tournament.
Absolutely. Any momentum that you can get building towards the end of the season's big, and that's a tough team. We saw that first game, and the Colonials were able to find the back of the net twice. So.
But before we continue this amazing action we have for you tonight, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have a great little piece with men's basketball's Ronnie Gombe, and later in the show, we're also going to sit down with Logan Carney and Ian Kist. You're not going to want to miss it.
But I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. If you've been walking around campus this semester and you've seen someone that's about a head taller than you and looks like a transformer, that's Ronnie Gombe. He is a fifth-year transfer here at Robert Morris, and
Nick Miller and I got to sit down with him before the season started and kind of got to talk to him and see what his story's like. What he came from Africa, a transfer student. His homeland's Africa. So we kind of got to sit down. Nick Miller, I should say, kind of got to sit down with him and talk about his career and how he got to Robert Morris.
My name is Ronnie Gombe. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. So I went to high school back home. I came here specifically for college. I was at a junior college in Philadelphia, Valleyford Military College, and then transferred to Canisius. Then I'm here now. So I've been in the States for 5 years. This is my 6th year. Culture shock, there's a lot of difference. Our cultures are kind of different, and also I spoke English my whole life, so that was a big one. So there was not much of language barrier, but because of like the heavy accent, also it's so hard. Like I get people and I understand when people are talking to me, but so the way we pronounce words sometimes is different. So just a little bit of that, then you get used to it. Growing up, I come from a really humble background, and basketball has been my way out, just like a lot of other players say, So growing up, I never played basketball, I never touched a basketball. I was always playing soccer. I did soccer, boxing for fun, like rugby just as a kid. And then I went to high school and I got into basketball actually because it's funny because the basketball coach was one of like the most feared teachers in school because we used to get whooped, So he told me if I played basketball, nobody was going to mess around with me. Like anytime I got in trouble, I should let him know. So that's why I played basketball. So the first time I had a basketball was my freshman year of high school, and then my sophomore year, towards the end of my sophomore year, I started taking it seriously because I got a scholarship to one of the best schools in the country. So, and it came when I couldn't afford tuition. I was supposed to drop out of school, and then the scholarship came. So since then, I've always been on scholarships. I definitely want to go back, but not immediately. I still have, like plans to get like work experience. I'm still here to see. I have a great degree. I did, finance and my undergrad. I'm getting my MBA now, so I definitely have an option to that. I still love the game and I'm trying to play still, so we'll see how that goes. And, so depending on how that plays out, I'll know my next move. But definitely, home is best. East or West, home is best. So if it comes to that, it can always happen too, yeah. The one thing that is the same all over is like the perception people have of Africa. People have like a lot of, people watch a lot of TV, which is not, some people will wonder how did you play basketball on a court, So it's a lot of, people have all this made up perception about Africa, but it's really, I would say everything that people think of Africa, those are there, but there's another side that people don't see. We have animals, of course we do. Even when I went home, I went for safari, and it's fascinating to me just as it would be fascinating to somebody else. So I just don't walk out of my house and meet a lion in front of my house, or a giraffe in my backyard, but that's what people think, which is funny, but yeah. I would just say people should travel. Africa is a great place, not dangerous as people think. Travel and find out more about Africa, or Kenya per se. And also, Africa is not a country, it's a continent. Yeah.
And a great sit down there with Ronnie Gombe and Nick Miller. And a crazy thing that I heard in that sit down was he didn't start playing basketball until he reached the high school age. He just played soccer, he said.
Pretty incredible the steps he's taken to become a Division I college basketball player. Very impressive.
Yeah, especially whenever you hear these guys that play basketball or any other D1 sport, they've been playing since they were 8 or 9, and he just starts playing basketball whenever he's in high school, and I think his size really helps with that, but you have to have a great work ethic in order to reach the level he has so far.
Terrifically athletic, and that's gone a long way for him, and he's been a big piece to this team.
Yeah, especially down low when they lack that big man down low year to year. He's kind of been a big help down there in the post.
Well, I think we've got to jump over to the ice and leave the basketball court. And the women's hockey team this past weekend was ending their CHA regular season. On the slate for the women Colonials was a back-to-back with Syracuse, a team that they split a weekend series with at home just a few weekends ago. Let's see if the women were able to build some momentum heading into the conference tournament. And here they go against Syracuse, and they're on the road. And Greg, this game was close on paper, 25 shots for RMU to 26 for Syracuse, but the difference seemed to be goaltender Elijah Milne-Bryce, who had a great game. She's going to pitch a shutout, and that's pretty good. And Syracuse, though, had 7 penalties. They were playing shorthanded the majority of this game, and you're going to see a great goal right here as the Colonials move the puck around, up top, going to dump it over, and one more. And back, and that is going to find the back of the net and give the Colonials a lead. They were up 4-0 going into the third. They haven't blown a 4-0 lead all season, and so you wouldn't expect them here, even though it's on the road, headed into the end of the season and the conference tournament. The team was led by Kristen Welsh, who did not net a goal but helped 3 of her teammates with assists. Brittany Howard had 1 goal on 3 shots, and Lexi Templeman had 2 goals. Only 1 game remained for the girls in the regular season.
The Colonials were hoping to be able to sweep the weekend against Syracuse Orange with the shutout win the night before. They were hoping to duplicate their success on offense and in net to New York to see if they could succeed. And here, we're going to see the first thing we're going to see here is a quick goal by Angelica Diffendahl in the first period with her 4th goal of her freshman season. Big save by Elijah Milne-Bryce, has 3 shutouts in the past 5 games. Quick goal here by back-to-back CHA Player of the Year, Brittany Howard. An amazing feat for her to get back-to-back. Brittany Howard across to JC Gebhard. Gebhard with a goal. 2 goals on the weekend versus Syracuse, or 3-game point streak. And here, we're going to see that last goal by Amber Rene, which clinches the CHA title for the Colonials for the season. Robin Morris was able to not only beat Syracuse back-to-back, but they were also able to get the back-to-back shutouts for Elijah Milne-Bryce. Brittany Howard and JC Gebhard both had a goal and assist on the night. The Colonials will advance to the CHA playoffs and face off against whoever won that game earlier in the night. I can't remember who it was exactly, but they'll be moving on to the CHA playoffs in the tournament there.
If you remember last week, the men's lacrosse team had a tough loss to Georgetown by just 1 goal. They had a week to get over their loss and get ready to play the 15th ranked team in the country on the road, Penn State. Certainly a tough task the Colonials proved to be up to. And you know, Greg, they're going on the road, still in state. The crowd wasn't huge here, but that didn't stop the Colonials from playing with a lot of heart. And this game was also close based on shots, 22 to 23 shots on goal. So it was going to come down to a few bounces here. And Greg, you know, last game I think we saw, they were playing in the snow. It was pretty tough, but good weather here. Penn State takes an early lead. RMU was down 2-5.
Yeah, and that weather I feel like really affected the game, but I really didn't because that high scoring game and that warm weather might have maybe just thrown them off, Todd.
Yeah, and so RMU's down 2-5 early, but going into the third quarter here, this is all RMU. They're going to have 4 unanswered goals, and they're going to say to Penn State, we're the 15th best team in the country. And heading into the fourth, Colonials have a lead. They're trying to hang on, and you're going to see them moving the ball around, and they're not going to let up their aggressiveness at all. They're going to pull away with this, and they're going to win 12-9. Thanks to those 4 unanswered goals. And Penn State hadn't lost in regulation until they played the Colonials. This game was as close as they come. Shots on goal, turnovers, clears, all close. But the Colonials were able to find the net a little more often and pulled off the incredible upset. Jimmy Perkins led the way with 3 goals, and Matt Schmidt had 2 goals. A great out-of-conference win has the Colonials looking great early in the year.
The women's lacrosse team went from Radford, Virginia to Lynchburg, Virginia to square off against the Liberty Flames last Sunday and looked to jump above the 500 mark in the season after a first tough loss against Bucknell in double overtime. The Colonials fell to the Liberty Flames 14-9, with RMU being outscored by 7 goals to 5 in the first half and 7-4 goals in the second. They now sit at 2-3 on the young season. Their next opponent will be George Washington at home this Saturday at Joe Walton Stadium at 11:30.
And Greg, you know, those spring sports are pretty exciting, but nothing's more exciting than the playoffs. And we have a lot of teams heading into the playoffs. And we've got a few people here to discuss playoffs. Who are they?
Yeah, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Logan Carney and Ian Kiss and just all the teams that are in the playoffs and what we're expecting them to do. But you're going to have to come back after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Upper Moore is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. And now I have the pleasure to sit down with our two analysts, Logan Carney and Ian Kiss. Guys, thanks for taking time out of your day and come down here and talk to us.
Of course. It's always a pleasure.
This is different. You're asking us the questions.
Well, it's not different for Logan. It's just different for you.
I always ask. I'm always on the other side. I'm always in the chair.
We're going to have to get comfortable in that seat tonight. And guys, why don't we start off by talking about that men's basketball team with that number 2 upset. They were number 7. What did you guys see in that game that was a big factor?
It was definitely the play of Matty McConnell really stood out to me. I mean, McConnell, he's now had at least 18 points in his past 3 games. He had 9 rebounds in that game too. Really, he's a playoff performer. You know, I heard somebody yesterday use the term to describe him as the Eli Manning of the NEC, and I think that's perfect for him. You know, he didn't shoot well this year, shot about 28%. Played phenomenal yesterday. I think that's a big reason why they won.
I think a big thing is when they went on that 15-2 run to get back in it after being down 10.5, they dominated the game. They switched the game to Colonial basketball. They played defense, and it helped that they held off the Mountaineers for 8 minutes to start. You know what I mean? That's a great way to come back. You play shutdown defense, and I think that's definitely going to have to happen against Wagner. You're going to have to play. They have to go into Staten Island and play Robert Morris basketball, or Wagner's going to walk out with the win.
All right, guys, and those are both great points for the men's basketball team. But now we're going to jump from the hardwood to the ice, and we're going to kind of talk about their postseason and what we're expecting from them. As I said earlier, they're 0-5-1, 5 losses in 1 tie in the past 6 games in the regular season, and that's not a great record heading into the AHC tournament. What do you got? What do the Colonials need to do in order to progress deeper into the season like they should be?
They can't be getting they can't be getting bad penalties. You look at the team, Robert Morris is near the bottom of the conference in penalties. They're last in the conference in penalty kill. They can't be giving up power plays when they in conference tournament. That's going to be a big issue. If that happens on Bentley, it might be tough for them to pull out a victory.
Yeah, I mean, they have to execute on the power play as well. You can't be 0-5, especially with a 5-minute major in there. But again, Brady Ferguson, he had a quote last week that said, "When I produce, we win." And Brady Ferguson has to get on the board. He has to take over. He has to be dominant this weekend.
And one more thing real quick before we kind of jump out of this little segment here. Women's hockey. They've been playing great in the past couple games. Brittany Howard, back-to-back CHA Players of the Year. What do you guys expect from them in the postseason?
I'm going to come out on a limb. I'm going to expect a big run. We both said on our last show there's really only 2 teams. You only think one, but I don't think there's 2 teams that really can beat women's hockey. I think Penn State, who they're going to be playing, I think is going to be a tough opponent for them. They have only beaten them once, and they tied them 3 times this year. And the other team, Mercyhurst, which Ian, you know more about. So
yeah, I mean, Mercyhurst is a team where they're the rival. They scratch and claw their way against the Colonials. They're always close games. But one person I'm looking forward to watching is obviously Brittany Howard, but Kirsten Welsh. I mean, she got top defender. She leads the conference in defenseman scoring. She's a beast, and if you don't slow her down this weekend, I think you'll see the Colonials win the championship.
And guys, I really appreciate you guys coming in. I know that was kind of rapid fire there, but I really appreciate you guys coming in. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to do the always favorite upcoming games for the Robert Morris Athletics and RMU the week that was. Come on back after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. And Greg, we were just looking at a few of the upcoming games, but there's a lot more going on in Robert Morris Athletics than just playoffs, even though that's exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And David, why don't we jump into that real quick and kind of discuss one or two games? All right, and like we said earlier over there with Ian and Logan, one of the big ones is going to be women's basketball. We didn't talk about that over there, but women's basketball, they're going to start their playoff push this week.
That's going to be big. And, you know, men's basketball going against number one Wagner. You got to think if they win that, they could be headed to the tournament. But we also have men's golf. They're going on their spring break trip this week. They're going to North Carolina. That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and it's going to be really exciting. But that's all the time we have for upcoming games. So a new tradition we like to have here in Colonial Sports Center. Let's go right into RMU, the week that was.
There's the point record for Brady Ferguson.
Robert Morris has got it, a dunk at the buzzer, and they're going to win the game.
Another great video put together by Matt Simkovic, just kind of highlighting some of the top plays in Robert Morris Athletics this past week.
And, you know, this coming week, we've got a lot of games to look forward to, and I think we're going to have a lot of plays to look at next week.
Yeah, David, and that's all for us tonight, so why don't you send us home real quick.
I'm David Szymanski, that's Greg Sutton, and this has been Colonial Sports Center, Looking forward to the next week of games. We'll see you next time.